And the issue, I think, with most people, and let me ask you, Christa, is how likely it is to get that that conviction under the circumstances, and if they can't, hey, why not go third-degree murder? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think that the underlying assault is not going to be that difficult to prove. There you have, police officers are trained on positional asphyxiation. He is laying on his stomach with weight put both on his back and neck. And I think that that when the experts battle this out, I think that is going to be a provable element of second degree. But the problem I have wrapping my brain around if there could be a conviction on that charge is the cause and manner of death. The amount of fentanyl in George Floyd's blood at the time of death was enough to kill a man his size and weight. So I think that is going to be the more difficult area for proof in the second degree charge. The third degree murder charge, I think, is the compromise verdict. And we've talked about this before. I worry that conviction, if had, could get overturned if the Supreme Court decides to overturn the Noor decision later this summer after the verdict in this case comes down. So it's a really tricky place to be in.
Yeah, that would.
And by the way, then jeopardy is attached. So
yeah, you're right.
Done.
And there is a scenario in which that could happen. The only thing they find him guilty of is third-degree murder. The Noor case goes up. That is ruled invalid. That affects this conviction. And Mr. Chauvin walks free. Then, of course, that's when I think you see the federal civil rights charges brought in. Judge, what do you think about that, the kind of fallback position of any federal civil rights action?
It's a compromise, I would say. It's not something that I think is really going to play out, honestly. I do think that in some of these cases in the past, they've been possible, but they've never really come to fruition. It has on occasion, but I really think that you've hit the nail right on the head, to borrow a line from one of those excellent lawyers, which is, this case is going to come down to whether the jurors feel like this was a depraved mind, whether it was reasonable under those circumstances, and what was the cause of death. And those are the major issues in the trial. And I can't wait to watch on Monday.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating. Here, I'm going to get to this a little later. See, I have this prop. It says, what does it say here? It says, action, cause, death. I spare no expense in getting these babies put together. We're going to talk about how the causal element is different in a civil case and a criminal case, and it becomes important in this case for a number of reasons, because we know about this $27 million civil settlement, and the causal connection in a case like that very different than the causal connection in this particular case. Hey, let me ask you, Christa, do you think the jury is going to be able to make heads or tails of the causation issue with all the experts we're going to hear from? Quickly, we're going to take a break.
Absolutely, I think so. I think you've got some experts lined up to talk about, on both sides, what that amount of drugs in the system means, and what the asphyxiation, the role that played, if any, on that. So I think that the combination of the asphyxiation with the drugs in the system, you've got multiple causal factors that I think a jury could hang their hat on.
Okay, we're going to find out, and we know it is going to be